Greetings, Cleveland. Welcome to Genice's Gems. I'm Genice Manning, and today my guest is Miss Tiera Evans, my African American Studies teacher. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
So, are you a native Clevelander?
Yes, born and raised in Cleveland.
What do you like most about Cleveland?
The food, the culture, community. Yeah.
And when you say culture, what do you mean by the culture?
Well, maybe more so just thinking in terms of just how Cleveland people are all for Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So I just love that if you're from Cleveland, you are going to ride or die for Cleveland. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Can't talk bad. Don't matter if our teams are good. Everything is Cleveland.
Yeah. So what high school did you attend?
I'm a tar bladder, baby. No, I went to Glenville High School. I'm one of the mighty tar bladders. Yeah.
What did you enjoy most about high school?
Everything. High school is amazing. If I could go back and do it again, I would. From sports to friends to teachers, everything. It was amazing.
What activities did you participate in while you were in high school?
I played tennis in the fall. I played basketball in the winter. I ran track in the spring. Yeah.
So, name some of your coaches while you were in all of them sports.
My tennis coach was Mr. Alexander. My basketball coach, I had 3 basketball coaches. I started off with Coach Mike. That's when I played JV. When I got to do JV and varsity, I had Coach Cal. And then about junior, senior year, I think, I had Coach Renee Wright.
So out of all the coaches, which one was your favorite coach? Name the top 3, because you played a lot of sports.
I forgot about track.
Oh, yeah.
My freshman year, I had Coach Ginn. And then the rest of my high school years, I had Coach Mike. I don't know if I had a favorite coach.
What about your top 3?
My top 3 coaches were Coach Kyle, definitely. Coach Kyle was a defensive coach, and I'm a defensive player, and he saw that right away. So he understood, and I just love that about him. He didn't force me to try to be a shooter. I mean, I'm short, so I'm either gonna be a shooter, I'm gonna be a point guard. I just like to play defense. That was my thing. Second favorite coach, Coach Ginn. I mean, it's a lot to say about him, but he's a great motivational speaker. He knows how to get you amped up to do what you feel like you couldn't do. So that was a lot in track. And then my third favorite coach, Coach Mike. Okay. Coach Mike seemed like he would be a softie, but he really turned it up, and he did not play any games. So yeah, I couldn't get away with much with him.
So what important character traits did you gain from playing all of many sports?
Biggest thing, everything's not gonna go my way, and being okay with that. Having patience. Understanding that even though I might see something one way and I think I know it all, the coaches are a coach for a reason.
Right.
They see something I don't. So essentially just if I, whether it's in school, the teacher sees something that we don't as students, sports, the coaches see something that we don't as players. So just being patient, knowing that the people who are in charge for a reason.
Right.
And just kind of let them lead and follow their lead.
That makes sense. So what inspired you to become a teacher? What drives you to still be a teacher now?
Nothing inspired me to be a teacher. I promise. I ran away from education. I did. I just knew I was just going to be a businesswoman, own my own business, and that was going to be it. But apparently I have a knack for kids. I started off with the younger kids, and then, I don't know, I guess older, I like high school age teenagers. Teenagers are very much misunderstood.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, I interned here at St. Martin in 2019 and as a teacher social worker. And it was just interesting to see in this atmosphere, right, the differences from when I was in high school. You know, you do so much more than teaching. You're a life coach, a counselor, a shoulder to cry on. It's a bunch that goes into teaching. And with me technically being like a social worker, it was kind of like it's in me to just talk and figure out, you know, how I can help. But that intern year helped me realize I can help in the classroom too. Okay. I don't have to just be behind the desk as a social worker.
So where was you working at before you worked at St. Martin?
So I was a director of a child care center. Okay. I've always been in child care. And then I decided to intern here at the same time I was in grad school. So that's why I had to do an internship. And being here made me realize like maybe I should go back into education.
So as the good teacher you are, what are some characteristics that like an upcoming teacher should possess?
I think the biggest thing is stay true to yourself. Don't try to conform to what you think the kids want. That's the biggest thing for me. I'm me. I don't give you anything different. I don't know how. So biggest thing would be just be yourself. Remember what you're taught, but also listen to your students. Everything just isn't the way we've been taught to teach or the way we've been taught to interact. It's all about the students, really. So I essentially just base my teaching skills on my students and how I see them, what's best for them to learn, how they learn best. If I could reach them in, I guess, a non-traditional teaching way, I'm gonna do it.
That's good. So what are some challenges that you might face as a teacher, or some challenges that you think, or just challenges that a public school teacher might face, or charter school, because we private, so it's a little different.
Well, I don't know. I think all around in general, like we're dealing with teenagers. So the biggest challenge is always the attitudes. Because if you're not used to dealing with teenagers, you don't know, like a lot of times the attitudes have nothing to do with you personally. They just aren't there to kind of keep a lot of adults aren't there either to keep their focus. Like if I have a bad day, I can't come in here and, you know, treat my students poorly because my day is bad. So I think, biggest thing would probably be challenge would be the attitudes. Another challenge might be home and work-life balance, how to turn off work when we leave here and not take it with you.
And be a teacher at home.
I'm working on that. And then maybe another challenge could possibly be like, you know, the things you would like to do for your students or in your school community, and you might not have the resources, or you don't have the time to do it.
So what is some advice that you would give a Black female teacher?
Don't shrink yourself.
Okay.
At times you can feel like you have to put on a certain mask when you come into work, especially when you work with people when the majority does not look like you. You feel like you have to put on a mask and be what they expect you to be. So you try not to be that angry Black woman.
Right.
You try not to be loud. You try not to have an attitude. You try to be as pleasant as possible. You might even come in talking a different voice. I can't. You just have to be who you are. If you're genuinely a good person, you're genuinely you're a great teacher, you're a good person, you have good morals, like you have a great attitude, anybody will love you, anybody will respect you. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to shrink yourself to fit into a box.
So how do you feel being given a task of the African American Studies?
I love it. I minored in African American Studies.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting that the school started in, 2003, and never had an African American history class until maybe 2017, 2016, somewhere around there. It's a predominantly Black school, and Miss Howard, shout out to Miss Howard. She did a great job of starting that class up and really getting the children excited about learning about their history. Back then it was only one course. Not everybody could take it. Now I teach almost all the seniors. So yeah, I'm just excited to keep take that torch and keep it going.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people think when they think about African Americans history?
About African American history, yeah, probably that all we're going to talk about is slavery. It's a lot. I don't want to talk about slavery. I don't want to hear about slavery. It's more to African Americans than slavery.
Than just slavery, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you like, what is your hope of your students getting from this class? What do you think they will learn most?
Well, if you remember from first day, I always tell students on the first day of class, I don't know everything about our history, right? A lot of times I find some new information as I'm preparing my lesson plans. But the biggest thing I tell them is that I hope that leaving my class, it's like, okay, I want to learn more. So when I go to school, I'll take a couple African American Studies courses to learn more. Surprisingly, I had a student graduate in 23 who actually is minoring in African American Studies just based on my class. And I was like, dang.
That's good.
Like, wow, okay, interesting. And she actually is the same thing I did, social work and African American Studies. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But that's all I want is for you all to understand, like, it's more to our history than just being slaves. We were more than that before and way more after. It's so much more to us than what we know about. And just knowing like what we're dealing with now in today's world is nothing new. We've been there before. It's just history.
We've been going through this.
It's just history repeating itself. So if I teach you guys what's happened in the past, we can start making some connections to what's happening now in the present. And then possibly how can we change things in the future?
So what are some things that you learned for yourself about African American history?
See, I think the biggest thing I probably learned was how much history repeats itself. I mean, I knew little things just because of things that might have been going on at the time, and it's like, okay, I could place that with this event in the past, but I think really delving into our history and just seeing like this isn't anything new. You know, we've been here before. Our ancestors persevered, they were able to overcome. So why do we feel like we can't? So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing for me.
When you attended high school, was there a class that talked even a little bit about African American history?
Yeah. We actually had an African American history class. My tennis coach, Mr. Alexander, was the teacher, but like here, you couldn't take it until you were a senior. And that's where my love of wanting to learn more about our history came from. I mean, my mom is a big African American history buff. Like, she didn't major or minor in anything, but she was very serious about making sure that we knew who we were. Yeah. Whether it's the history, because I grew up in the Glenville neighborhood. So whether it's about the history of the Glenville neighborhood, whether it's about the history of our church, whether it's about the history of where she's from, Meridian, Mississippi, like, she's a big history buff. So she instilled that in me. So when I actually got to have the class, it was just something like, okay, I want to keep learning.
So what are some challenges of teaching this subject?
The biggest challenge is the students not caring.
Yeah.
You know, I always hear, why do I have to learn this? I don't need to learn about this person or this event. That doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything for me. And it always, I can't say anything right away because I'm just like, I guess I'm just dumbfounded. Like, wow, like, you actually feel like African American history has nothing to do with you. And
when you're African American.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it comes from my Black male students. That's when it's really like, okay, I got to do something. Like, my wheels are always turning. Like, how can I make them see that this is important, you know? Okay,
so name 3 most enjoyable moments here at St. Martin. Or if it's more, name all of them.
You're recording it, so I can't say that one. No, I enjoy the students. Whether it's my students or underclassmen, I really do enjoy the students. Just listening to you guys talk. I don't know why you guys feel like you could tell me things that I didn't even ask for. You just come up talking to me about stuff. But in hindsight, like I think that's really cool. I guess
to build a relationship.
Yeah, it makes me feel like, okay, you guys trust me, or at least you feel somewhat comfortable with me to share that information with me. So in hindsight, that makes me feel great as a person and as a teacher. I enjoy the St. Martin community, whether it's amongst seeing the student community or faculty and staff community. I do enjoy the sense of community here. Just understanding that we have families, we have lives outside of here, things happen. So like, for instance, today my son does not have school because of Rosh Hashanah. So he's here at work with me. And just not worrying about, oh man, he doesn't have school, I'm gonna have to call off work. No, it's very welcoming here to like bring them with you. Let's see, what else do I like? I think this year my oldest son's a freshman here, so I like being able that we're back in the same school. It's not anything new being in the same school with him, but I really enjoy the fact that he is here
at a great school.
Yeah. I think this is a perfect fit for him, so I really enjoy that. And just being part of this community. When I was an intern, I said if I had a chance to come back and work at St. Martin, I would. And 2 years later, I got that chance. Yep. And I pretty much ran back.
So if you could describe all of that in 3 words, what would the 3 words be?
If I can describe St. Martin in 3 words?
Yeah.
Okay. St. Martin is loving. St. Martin is caring. And St. Martin is enjoyable. Okay,
so if you could tell me one experience in your life that helped you, shaped you as a person today. I know you told me a story about college. Maybe that's one, but it might be others.
Oh, I told you a story about college.
Yeah, you did.
One event that shaped me to who I am today. I don't know if it's necessarily one event, maybe a bunch of events. It's more so like different people who came into my life at different points in my life to kind of, I guess, reiterate what the last person told me about what they see in me. You know how people see things in you that you don't see.
You're right.
And then they tell you that stuff and it's like, me? You talk about me? So just from, I would say, starting in high school on, constantly having people like reaffirm the type of person I am. Always saying how they see a leader in me. Once I got that in high school, it was kind of like, okay, well, how can I be a leader?
Right.
What are these things that you're seeing? And I guess college was the same way. I got an academic scholarship to Ohio University.
That's good.
So thankfully I didn't have to worry about paying for anything. I just had to worry about keeping my grades up. But my mentors in college, they always said the same thing. You're a leader, be a leader. So try to branch out and do things in leadership. Maybe not too much because I don't like to talk in front of people. Crazy as a teacher, but I don't like to talk in front of people. I don't like to have all eyes on me. But I'll do things here and there, maybe behind the scenes. So yeah, I don't know if it's like maybe one thing. It's just been a bunch of things from high school, but it's always the same theme of conversations.
Okay.
Is, Tiera, you're a leader. You need to show that you're a leader and stop hiding. So I do a lot of that. I try not to be out in the forefront. I like to work in the background. I don't really care to be out front and be seen at all.
So what do you hope to gain from the future?
My biggest hope, I think, is more kids coming back telling me how maybe I inspired them to do something, or that I was just motivation for them, or just, what they probably needed in their time in high school, which really changed their direction or changed that idea of what they wanted to do or be in life, and continue to just be who I am, maybe grow. I want to continue to grow as a teacher. I don't want to be just a good teacher. I want to be a great teacher, a great educator. And also just growing as a mom, making sure that my kids know that, that work-life balance is everything to me. So just being present for my kids the way I'm present for my students.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming out here and talking with me today.
You're welcome.
Until next time, but remember, all gems are not made of stone, but of love.